Do you find that you tend to go with how things are, or the reason we do things is just the way they've always been done? Well, I'm going to challenge that, so stay tuned and find out how doing things the usual way may not always be the best option. Let's see. Hello, hello, hello. As usual, still haven't got the place. Subscribe. Just going to hold up the pillow every single time now. That's the easiest thing. Right, welcome back. Today is a weird one. I've got a bit of a story for you. It relates to, I'll hold off what the story's about. But firstly, it's the question, like, have you noticed that you tend to do things the way things have always been done? Well, I had the idea to do this video about this particular story because it highlights how ridiculous it is sometimes to do things because that's the way they've always been done. But I was re-inspired to do it by something I overheard. It was a direct question. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you know who you are. The question was, why is there a cat?
Say what?
I'm saying no more. Why is that even a question? What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Without going into super detail, because it's probably dull, there was a cat outside. But rather than saying, why is there a cat outside, the question was, why is there a cat? Now, it was obviously implied it was outside. I hope so. But we joked about and really ripped the piss out of this lovely young lady, saying, well, that's a bit of a deep question, why is there a cat? You know, some sort of philosophical, spiritual question. And that, sort of joking, kind of like relating to yesterday's video, is what I'm sort of getting to here, because the joking aside, the why is there a cat, the question, you know, why does a cat exist almost? Okay, I'm emphasising this why is there a cat question, just to really kind of make her cringe. Anyway, it's that question, why are we doing it this way? Why does this thing here, it's always been like that, but why? So the point of all of this, bringing it back again from the tangent, is why do we accept things to be as they are? Because that's just how they've been done over time. Now, whether that's weeks, months, years, thousands of years, whatever. There's ways of doing things that may not necessarily be the best way to do something, but often it's just accepted because it's always been done that way, and therefore that's how it's done. And so the challenge is, you know, why is it such a problem to change the way you're doing something and going against what's always been done? So let me hit you with this story and then I'll kind of explain a bit more detail. The story is about how two things that on the surface are so unrelated, but weirdly they are connected. Those two things are the space shuttle, this kind of pinnacle of technological advancement, and you know, it's a rocket that you can launch and it comes back and lands like a plane, you know, amazing thing, and a horse's arse. How are those two connected? And it's much closer than you think.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Flashback.
Once upon a time, many years ago, actually probably 1,000 years ago, this channel's not about historical accuracies. You had the Romans. In Rome, obviously, hence the name. And they came to Britain. And they got their kind of, all their Roman stuff. Doesn't matter, that's not relevant for the story. And famously, the Romans built roads. So you've got the Roman roads in England, very straight, obviously much more economical to go in a straight line somewhere. That's all good. And they made these roads and they had their chariots. Now the chariots generally were sort of two horses. They took sort of two horses. So these chariots had the two horses, then the chariot part. These details don't matter. And then the wheels and the guy or guys on top with the drums, with the reins doing the horsey stuff. Don't show this to the kids to teach them about the Romans. It's not 100% accurate on detail. They are in their chariots, two horses in front, the wheels. And obviously going up and down these roads. So what happens over a period of time is the kind of ruts start to happen, or grooves start to happen in the roads. Now, when you've got the grooves, the more you kind of go up, you end up sort of riding in those same grooves, because otherwise if you go out them, it's going to be much more bumpy. So therefore all these roads have these grooves in. All the chariots are relatively the same size. They're all two horses wide, and horses are relatively the same sort of size. Don't hate on me for if you're a horse expert and saying obviously there's different size horses, but let's say as an average size horse. Romans, chariots, grooves in the road from riding, driving, playing the drum in their chariots. So moving on a bit of time, after the Romans there were some other people. This is the worst history lesson ever. You got the grooves in the road. As the chariots and the sort of the methods of transport evolved, you've got these grooves in the road which have been worn by the chariot. So things were just built the same. 2 horses, wheels, chariot. So that kind of size continued throughout. When it then come to the introduction of railways, obviously I'm jumping forward a few years here, because of the grooves, the same size was used. And going from the width of the 2 horses to a very specific measurement now of 4 feet, 8.5 inches, that's very specific, but that was the size basically. So that was used for the rail tracks. So now we've got trains on a 4 foot, 8.5 inch railway, which is basically the same size as the wheels sort of width on the Roman chariot. Obviously you've got to be careful what I say here. Then the lovely Brits went and thought, let's find another country, set off and found another country, okay, North America. Trains were then introduced over there, all good. Ironically, the same width, 4 feet, 8.5 inches for the rails. Trains, years, everything's the same.
Much later.
Now move forward a ton of years later.
Much later.
And you've got Cape Canaveral in Florida. I don't know why I'm pointing over there. For illustrative purposes, it's over there. When they were making the space shuttle,
3,000 years later.
See, I've like zipped through to like, you know, the 80s suddenly. When they were making the space shuttle, you've got the plane part. See, I'm not super techie. You've got the big, massive rocket booster thing, which the sort of plane part sits on top, and then you've got 2 smaller rocket booster things on the side. Now those 2 side rocket booster things, they were made in a factory in Utah, which is nowhere near Florida. That Utah's over there, so that way over there, Florida's over there. Between the factory in Utah and Cape Canaveral in Florida, it was quite a long railway, but in the middle of that somewhere were some mountains. They made a tunnel through the mountain and put the railway in. So, but to get to from the factory in Utah to the launch pad in Cape Canaveral in Florida, they had to go by rail through this specific tunnel. They were limited to the size of the tunnel, to how big the boosters could be, because they had to fit through the tunnel. So the boosters, size of those, or the diameter, had to fit through the tunnel. The size of the tunnel was due to the train. The train was due to the width of the track, 4 feet, 8.5 inches. The size of the track was from English trains. The size of English train tracks is from the width of the wheels in the grooves in the road beforehand. And that comes from Roman chariots, which comes from the width of 2 horses. So therefore, that's how the space shuttle is linked with the width of a Roman horse's arse.
End of flashback.
The point to this story, as fun as it is, because things were done the way they've always been done, they didn't put 3 horses, probably would have gone faster. They kept the 2. The width, wheels, the next chariot, same. Because things were always done exactly how they have been done, it just evolved slightly to a point where we have to make this booster for this amazing technology rocket, reusable rocket like a plane thing, but we have to make it this size to get through the tunnel with the train. And that was all because of the width of a horse's arse. It's not always the best thing to do things how they've always been. It's good to challenge the norm, challenge why things are done a certain way, ask questions. And almost back to my video yesterday, this is what kids do. They always ask why is it like that? Because they're inquisitive. They don't understand the sort of history behind why something's done. They just say it's been done like this. And to them it may not make sense. Most of the time they're asking why, not because they want to be a little it's because they're sort of going, well, it doesn't make any sense to me. You're saying this is how it's done, but why? Why is it done that way? They're kind of looking for reasons, and it's that kind of almost like childlike challenge and wonderment, like I said yesterday, is something that I think is missing a lot, because you so often just carry on doing things. That's the way they are. The whole classic thing is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be broken to be inefficient or bad. You know, it's like going, well, every day I walk to the shops, but backwards. And then I grow up, children see me doing it, they copy it, their children, And so for years and years and years and years, the whole family have just walked to the shops backwards, because that's how I saw my father, grandfather doing it. That's how it's always been done. It doesn't mean it's the best way, it's just no one's challenged it. It'd be much quicker and safer and better overall if you just went and walked forwards. But because everyone's just accepted doing things the way they've been done, only when someone goes, hang on, why are we doing it that way? Those people are the ones who change the world. You know, people like Steve Jobs, where they go, well, okay, well, you've got these mobile phones. Does it have to be like that? Or could we have like a touch screen? Whoa, what's this crazy guy on about? And that kind of thing. They're just the people who sort of like, Elon Musk, another one, kind of just challenging the norm. And this idea also extrapolates out even further. You could be just doing things how you've always done them and not ever really question yourself. Maybe through fear of finding out the answer. You might be in a relationship and you're just kind of going along with it. Fine. But are you truly happy? And is it something that you really want? If you ask yourself, is this ticking all the boxes? Is this giving me maximum points? Is this giving me everything I kind of want in life? And sometimes the answer is not what you want. That's the problem. So often we don't ask ourselves, we don't challenge ourselves in that respect, because we might not like the answer. And the answer might be like, no, it's not. Because then you've got to make a decision, change it or not. And then you kind of got to live with the fact that you know that it's not right, which is also difficult. But challenging things and asking, is this the best way of doing something? Is this the best thing for me? Is this the best job? Is this the best hobby? You know, whatever it may be. Is this the best way to get fit? Is this the best diet I'm on? What, you know, so whatever it may be, it's good to challenge the norm. It's good to challenge how things are being done or have always been done. Without asking those questions, nothing will ever change. I'm not saying things always have to change, but remaining the same way for the sake of remaining the same way is certainly not a good thing. But at least ask the question, is this the best thing? Is this the best way of doing it? Otherwise you'll end up horse's arse, space shuttle. That's it for today. Hope you got some value from this. Really do. It's kind of a bit of a
big subject, I guess,
but it's one I've been wanting to bring up and merge together. And that question today of, why is there a cat? That kind of prompted me to do it. So if you did get some value from this, please hit that like button till it's blue, unlike this, which is red, and subscribe. I will stop holding that up soon. And for now, I will say goodbye and see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so down here, and check out my other video down here. And remember, live your best life and profit from that passion. See you next time. Bye-bye.